Every man has insecurities, period. Yeah, and I'm sure that there are a couple of people who are going to comment here and say, oh, I don't have any insecurities. Oh, you're fucking lying. We all have insecurities. My insecurity, well, for instance, in these videos, you know what the big insecurity I have? I'm always worried that I have a booger falling out of my nose. That's the insecurity I have. And it's ridiculous and stupid because, of course, I check to make sure I don't have any boogers before I start recording the episodes. But that's my insecurity. Yeah, every fucking time. Oh, yeah. And this, of course, is a trivial insecurity. There are others that are much greater and more profound. I have insecurities as to whether I am the man I want to be, that I'm achieving the things that I want to achieve in my life, and what have you. You know, I have these great insecurities that I carry within me, and I try to handle them. Of course I do. And the way I've found to handle them is to laugh at them. I laugh at them and I don't pretend that they're not there. See, there are a lot of guys who try to pretend that they don't have the insecurity that they have. They try to pretend that they are not insecure about, I don't know, well, like I said, boogers falling out of their nose or some shit like that, right? They try to pretend that they have it all together. And this is usually a recipe for disaster. Because when you try at all costs to deny the things that you're insecure about, somehow, for some reason, and I know this from personal experience, it creates like some sort of bullseye on that particular insecurity. Oh yeah. I know this because when I was a kid, I was bullied mercilessly. Oh yeah. I was bullied mercilessly because a lot of times I was the new kid in school. A lot of times I just behaved like a fucking asshole. I mean, a little prick. And just antagonize people. Well, I still do that, but you know what I mean. It was worse before than it is now. And if that's the case, think how bad it used to be. Yeah, well, you know. Anyway, the thing is, see, bullies, what they do is they light on your insecurities and they just jab at those insecurities until you cry uncle, until you scream, until you get into a little fucking fist fight, you know, in the 5th grade and shit like that, right? Yeah, that used to happen to me all the time. And so I know wherever I speak. I used to try to deny the things that I was insecure about. And of course, that failed miserably because the bullies, they knew that it really bothered me. Yeah. I mean, one of them is that, you know, I have a lazy left eye. Yeah. You'll notice in some videos sometimes, like I'm looking at the camera, but this eye seems to like drift out and like is like looking at other shit. I don't know when it's doing it, by the way. It just happens randomly. Okay. And I can't really control it. And I'm insecure about it, you know, but, you know, well, the point is, when I was much younger, it would freak me the fuck out, okay? And a lot of times bullies would like laugh at me, you know, what are you looking at? They would say, you know, and I thought I was looking at them. And in fact, I was looking at them, but they already knew that it was the thing that was really, that I was very insecure about. And so they'd needle me about it, right? And it just drove me nuts, right? Until finally, and I think I was like maybe 16, something like that, 17 maybe. Finally, I realized that the smart thing was to make a joke out of it. Well, let me rephrase that. I mean, I'm trying to make it sound as if I came to this rational conclusion, but it wasn't. No, I laughed about it. I made a joke about it. I laughed about it. And that's when I realized, oh, yeah, you make a joke about something and people will forgive you for it. You make a joke about something, about some defect that you have, right? Because we're usually insecure about our defects. And what happens is that if you make a joke about it, then people will back off and not really needle you with it, see? Especially not bullies, see? If you accept the defect that you have, you accept it, and by laughing at it, you're telling people, yeah, I've accepted this, I have this defect, and you know, what's a guy gonna do about it, huh? Well, then all of a sudden, you know, the bully on the one hand, he's not going to be able to use that against you because you've acknowledged it. And the other people who are not bullies, which is, of course, the majority of people, they will feel sympathetic towards you. The fact that you are acknowledging a weakness, a deficiency that you are naturally insecure about, because they will recognize that they themselves are insecure about their own deficiencies and weaknesses and the things that they lack. And so they will feel empathy towards you. And they will like you more. They will like you more, and they will not pay attention to this defect. Because remember, ultimately, whatever defect you have is trivial. Of course, because, I mean, does it matter that I have a lazy left eye? Does it matter? Does it make you want to not watch as many of my videos as you do? Of course not. It doesn't play anything insofar as you watching my videos. It doesn't affect my life in any meaningful way. Not at all. once in a while, when I go, it happens to me when I go to the supermarket. I talk to the lady at the counter there, and sometimes my eye will drift away and she'll like look over her right shoulder thinking that I'm looking at somebody behind her and to the side. And of course I'm not. It's my lazy left eye, right? And she'll be a little bit uncomfortable, poor thing, and just, focus on me. And when that happens, somehow my left eye sort of like focuses back on the woman, on the attendant there at the supermarket, and stops doing that, okay? It's as if, my left eye was just, fucking with people. But anyway, be that as it may. But you see my point. See, it affects my life in trivial circumstances. And it has certainly not been a determining factor in my fate. Not at all. And that's the case with insecurities, with most insecurities. Because when we have a defect, a serious defect or flaw, for instance, if we were crippled, for instance, you're not going to be insecure about that. No, because it is something that has really changed your life and has closed off certain options that you wanted in your life. Suppose you wanted to be, you wanted to be an Olympic sprinter, and now you're crippled and you're in your wheelchair, right? Well, it's not a fucking insecurity. It's a major reality in your life, and it's something that you have to deal with, and you can't try to hide it. But in insecurity, it's a small flaw that you are trying to hide. You see? And you see how you have to attack insecurities? You have to attack them by laughing at them. Because the major deficiencies in your life, the fact that you are obviously crippled or obviously ugly or obviously this, that, the other, right? See, these obvious deficiencies, they do determine your life. Your insecurities don't. The things that you are insecure about are trivial. You have simply allowed them to escalate in your own imagination. And so what you have to do is laugh about them. Yeah, you bring them up. You make a joke about them before anybody else can. You point to this trivial flaw and make a joke about it, thereby disarming any bully and making friends of the people around you who recognize that this trivial deficiency makes you more human, more like them. Because empathy is shared humanity. And if you show people that the deficiency that you have, that sparks this insecurity that you have, and that you are insecure, and you reveal that insecurity, and you make a joke about it, well, then the people will recognize that they have the same problem, and their own little deficiencies and defects and what have you, and they have their own little insecurities, perhaps insecurities that they cannot face as you can. Perhaps they are insecurities that they cannot make a joke as you can. But they will recognize that they too have the same kind of insecurities as you, and when they see you laugh at them and mock your own insecurities, your own small deficiencies, they will like you more, because it will make you more human, more approachable. You see why it's so important? And forget about dealing with other people. It's important that you laugh at your own insecurities so that they do not dominate you. Yeah? We are all insecure about things. But if you take these insecurities, these small deficiencies that seriously, they will dominate your life and control you. And more to the point, other people will be able to control you by way of these insecurities. They will be able to control you, and you will no longer be the master of your own fate. You will not be the man whose hands are on the steering wheel of your life. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's why it's so important that any insecurity that you have, that you yourself drill into it and mock it and laugh it. Laugh at it until it doesn't hurt. See? And invite other people to laugh at it. Because that's the surest way to cauterize it. I don't know if you know what cauterize means. It means very simply to pour like fire, something very hot, onto a wound, so hot that it burns and seals the flesh and keeps from being open, right? And not a pleasant prospect, but that's what people had to do before modern medical technology and what you call it, and stitches and what have you, right? They would cauterize it. Yeah, and it would leave an ugly scar, yeah, but it would stop bleeding, right? Which is what they wanted. That's what you have to do. You have to cauterize that insecurity. Don't let it control you. You control it. Mocking your own insecurity is the best way to do it. You mock it, and you mock it first, and you mock it most viciously of all. So viciously that it stops hurting. Yeah, because insofar as my own lazy left eye is concerned, yeah, I don't care anymore. I used to care. Oh, you have no idea. When I was young, when I was a boy, it would freak me the fuck out. It would terrify me. The notion, the idea that my lazy left eye would start to wander off. And like I said before, I didn't know when it would do it. I had no idea when it would start to wander off. And it made me terrified. It made me terrified that I would be mocked. It controlled my mood, my way of expressing myself. And because of my fear, you know, I would like talk to people and I'd sort of like look away and like look down and not look them in the eye. Because I thought to myself, you know, if I look them in the eye and they'll see my eye drifting off and they'll not realize that I'm looking them in the eye, or maybe they will realize that I have a lazy left eye and they'll mock me. And you know, I have such terrible memories of that time in my life when I was young, and I was so scared of it, so insecure about it. It was just dreadful. It was just dreadful, and needlessly so. It was needless to feel so insecure and frightened of my own trivial deficiency. But that's what happens. And it happens, you know, I realize it happened to me, and I'm no different from the vast majority of people on this earth. And so I realize that it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us that we fall victims to our own imagination. Yeah, because that's what's going on. We imagine things that aren't real. And we imagine this trivial deficiency as something much more important than it actually is. It's nothing. Whatsoever it is, it's nothing. So learn to laugh at it so that it doesn't control you, so it doesn't ruin your life.